Now, obviously, there's cases where an employee can do something wrong, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's your company. So I struggled with I'm not there on the job, and it's hard for me to make sure everything's getting done the way I want it to be done.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is episode 48 of Yellow Colored Glasses, and we've got an awesome guest on today, Zach Horn with Longhorn Contracting LLC, and he did some awesome work for me personally, for us personally at our house. So I'm gonna let him kind of talk about that. But before we get started, I'm gonna do a quick review, and it's just from Aaron G. He said, I did business with Jake Warren for several years when he was with State Farm. I saw it as a great opportunity to switch when Jake became an independent agent. I've got my home, auto, disability, and business insurance with Jake. All of these are with different companies. That's the beauty of working with an independent agent. They work hard to find the best coverage regardless of the company. They also built his agency with great customer service. This agency with great customer service. I always get my calls and emails answered the same day. This agency is super motivated and an awesome group of people. They are young and hungry. I am happy to know that they will be around for a long time. Check them out if you haven't. Thank you for the awesome review, Aaron. And guys, I say it every time, but the reviews are huge. Zach, you probably know that
for sure
with the stuff that you do, popping up on the top of Google on the searches. It's amazing how many more people we get that just Googled us, or they typed in insurance and they saw us at the top. So thank you for doing that. And real quick, Zach, go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we're going to get into the peaks of what we've got going on. So tell us just real quick.
Yeah, so I've owned a contracting company for roughly 4 years, kind of rebranded in the last year and a half, and going more towards decks, pergolas, kind of any outdoor living areas. Do a lot of paper patios and stuff like that too. And then I say rebranded, but the only reason I kind of did that was my grandpa passed away in the last 2 years, and I wanted to kind of combine names. So it was their last name's Long, my last name's Horn. It kind of just made sense, kind of a play on words, but I just wanted to have something that, I think of him all the time because, he was the hardest working person I know. So it was kind of, he led me down the path of wanting to do this. So I kind of wanted to have something to look at every day and be make me think of him. So that's kind of the reason I did that. But
that's awesome, dude. So decks, patios, all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that we do is before, when we get started, we talk about a peak and a pit. Okay, and a peak is going to be something that's awesome that's going on right now. So would you have any peaks with business or in life that are going really good right now?
Yeah, I'd say business is good and all that stuff, but I'd say more so I've only been married for a year and a half, so that's been kind of to get on that topic of it, but that's been awesome. My wife's awesome, all that stuff. But I'd say the peak of right now in my life is trying to focus more on her and being there for her, because I do work a lot and stuff like that. So I'm trying to juggle that stuff, but I think I've been better about it recently, and we've gone on some trips and stuff like that, and that's been awesome. So
so more family time.
Yeah, more family time. Yeah.
Okay. No, and honestly, that's kind of my peak too. So run your own business, right? It's really cool because you have the flexibility, right? You have the flexibility, but you still, if you're not working, right? If you're not doing stuff, you're not making money, right? And so the peak for when summertime gets here, for me, is all the time that we get to spend with our kids outside doing stuff. Macklin has baseball. Asher's not quite there yet. Getting that time with them and having that flexibility to really spend that time, especially when it's nice outside and go swimming, that kind of stuff. Having that ability to do that with them, and that's my peak. Has been our family time as well. It's awesome. Because if you're not taking time to enjoy that stuff, what's the point, right?
Yeah, like none of this stuff matters if that's not on the front burner.
At the end of the day. So, yeah, peak for me is definitely my family time as well. And then I would say a pit, that's kind of one thing that's negative right now. This is always hard for me because I don't know, I try not to like let anything negative really get in my head. So I don't know, the pit would probably be how hot it is right now. Like, dude, we walk outside and it is like jumping into a coffee cup.
It was like 105 yesterday.
105 with the temp, and that's not even the humidity. I don't know.
I didn't know we were in Texas, but yeah.
Yeah, so that might be your pit too, dude, working outside.
Yeah,
so what's your pit?
I'd say that, and then also I'd say I've been not struggling necessarily recently, but like I've been trying to like understand my like value in my business and stuff like that, because there's a lot of jobs that I want to get that, like, you maybe underestimate your value a little bit when you're out there, because you're like, dude, this would be an awesome before and after and stuff like that. And I think I'm kind of, like I said, I'm not struggling with it. I'm just like, I don't know, trying to juggle that. There's ones that, because I do want to get into like these bigger jobs, these $30,000-$40,000 jobs and stuff like that. But you kind of, I don't know, you go bid those and it's like, yeah, this would be sweet to do, and like we can do this, and this, and then it's like, they're like, well, if you can come down and it's kind of one of those deals, and it's like you gotta know where you're at as far as your value goes, because you don't want to like bite off more than you can chew or do something like that. But I'd say that. I mean, it's not really a pit. I guess it's just something working on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of
No, we'll talk more about that too when we get. I really want to touch on that, because that's something that. I don't know, even when you came and did work at our place. So first of all, how Zach and I met was, honestly, it was Facebook. And we had been in the market for getting our deck either refurbished and kind of restored, or getting a new deck altogether. And I saw some work. I don't know if it was your sister-in-law that maybe posted it, and it looked awesome. And so I reached out to Zach and wanted him to give us a quote. And long story short, it was the best experience that I've had with anybody that's doing that kind of work. And it was everything that they said that they were going to do, they did. They got it done quickly. They did it for a good price, which he's talking about. Honestly, he maybe underbid it on our end, because he did a phenomenal job, and really just everything was perfect. So that's how we met, and then that led into other things as well. We know with the people that helped him out, right? You had Nathan Payne that was helping you.
Yep.
Now we insure his business. Then we had Kyle.
Yep.
Now we doing some commercial auto for him, and so it's kind of a perfect example too of networking and helping each other out. And so it's been really cool. So take us back. What you said, you rebranded the last couple of years. What did you, when you started into the business, how was it set up? Were you running your own business from the beginning, or were you working for somebody?
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go all the way back.
Because you're how old? How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My growing up, my grandparents owned a pool business outside of Columbia. So all the way through high school, went down there, did that for the summer, all that kind of stuff. And kind of knew then that I was like, I want to do my own thing. Like, I saw them build something, and so I always wanted to do my own thing. And then out of high school, worked for a masonry restoration company, doing ground up rebuilds on chimneys, stuff like that. Did that for like 4.5 years. And then I started my own thing, which was Centerview Construction at the time. It was great. I did get a little big, had a couple crews growing and stuff like that, and got into the commercial side. And that was just not something I really wanted to do. It kind of just fell that way. And it was but then I got into it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to stick to the residential side, all that kind of stuff.
Why? Why? It was. I don't mean to cut you off, but why did you not like having the crews, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I've always felt like, it's your company, so everything's on you, at the end of the day. If there's someone to blame, look in the mirror. Now, obviously, there's cases where, an employee can do something wrong, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's your company. So I struggled with, I'm not there on the job, and, it's hard for me to, make sure everything's getting done the way I want it to be done, which I know at some point that's going to come to a head. I got to, I'm going to have to put more trust in people and all that kind of stuff. But if I could have the best of both worlds, I'd love to stay in the field as long as I can, and make sure everything's getting done right. I mean, that's how my grandpa ran his business. At the end of the day, to have 100% certainty, that's kind of the only way to do it. I mean, you can put all these things into motion for your employees, and things for them to follow, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not there, something's going to get done the way you didn't want it to get done. So,
sure.
So I went that route, did all that, and then I've kind of been doing some sub stuff now recently with Longhorn, and I think that works a little bit better because it is, it's their companies too, so it's their name on it, stuff like that. So I think that works a little better for me. Eventually I am going to get to the point where, like I said, it'll come to a head, and I gotta kind of make that leap. But I'm still young right now, so I'm going to try and run this until I can't do this stuff anymore. But I love doing the work too, so that's the other thing. I don't mind, I like talking to customers, doing the sales side of it, all that kind of stuff, and I'm fine with doing book stuff, all that, but I really love doing the work. So stepping back at the end of the day and seeing hey, I built that, that's pretty cool. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So when you said you're doing sub stuff now, is that where Kyle and Nathan came into play?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you there, because at the end of the day too, they're marketing for what they're doing as well, right?
Yeah.
And the job that they're doing, helping you. I don't know. It was really cool how you did that, because it felt to me like everybody was doing just the best job that they possibly could versus, somebody's getting paid an hourly wage, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to them how long it takes. And that's where the balance comes into. And we have a really good team, that we have here, and it takes, finding the right people and being patient, finding the right people,
mm-hmm.
right? You can't just hire anybody just because we have a spot we need to fill, and we're gonna just whoever wants to come work here, come work here.
Yeah,
it's probably the same situation, right? And even more so in your line of work, because it's so visible on how well the job is done, right?
Yeah.
If we mess up an insurance policy, we can get that fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go build a 30,000 deck the wrong way, and you've got stuff completely done wrong, that the what is it called, the concrete that you guys poured under?
Oh, the piers.
You got piers in the wrong spot. You got piers that aren't done right. That's a lot to undo, right? And that's a lot of time, and that's a lot of of money.
You're in some trouble. Yeah.
Well, it's just it's a lot of money that's going out the window with your time. And when you're talking about family time earlier, gosh, you guys were working on our deck, on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. And that, to me, I was like, holy cow, these guys are serious about getting this done, which is awesome. But at the same time, you're going to come to a point where you're already talking about family time with the wife whenever you've got kids, and you've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting how you can kind of navigate that.
Yeah.
And we talk all the time about delegating in this office and being hands off with things, and it is difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
But for me personally, what I found too is once I can just trust the people to do it. Our trucking department is exactly that. We've got 30 people that literally work on trucking, and we don't really touch it. We trust them to do it. We check in on them, and they kind of run that. So what are you were talking about value earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think is the reason that you're struggling? When you're going to bid in a job, are you just, hey, we really want to get this, so we need to make sure we're the cheapest, or is it?
No, it's not.
How does it work?
It's not necessarily that. It's just there's always going to be, Joe Blow down the road that's going to bid it the cheapest and all that. And I don't have a problem selling value in our work. I mean, I don't really have a problem with that, but it's just like there's a few of those where it's like, man, I really want this job because I'm like, this before and after would be crazy, and I know it's going to lead to more jobs. I kind of get caught in that trap of you can't think like that, because you gotta think in the here and now, like, this job's gonna make me this much money, and I can't do jobs and like lose money, obviously. But sometimes I just struggle with that. It's just like, man, this would be sweet to get this, and it's like if I drop it just a little bit, and it's like I catch myself, I'm like, no, I shouldn't do that. I'm just like, but understanding like what your value is, what your worth is, and all that. Not just in like business either, in life. I mean, that's something I think a lot of people struggle with. I mean, like when I was in high school, when like football was over, because I played football for 12 years or whatever, and then football's over, and it's like, it's one of those deals where it's like you're struggling to find like, oh, who am I without this or whatever. Yeah. It's one of those deals. So it's like, there's obviously more to life than that or whatever, but no, it's just, and it's not necessarily something that's like a bad thing. I think it's a good thing that I'm like thinking about this, when I'm out there or whatever. For sure. But yeah, it's a constant battle of understanding what your value is and where you stand with everything. So yeah.
Okay. So whenever you're that point that you're making, as far as value, okay, it goes with, I mean, like you said, everything, okay? And the before and after, when you're talking about before and after, you're meaning, okay, you take pictures of somebody's deck or landscaping or patio, and then based on your marketing of posting that, kind of just how I was introduced to it, to you, that being what's going to lead to the next thing, and to you guys being bigger and bigger. So I don't know, man, I feel like as you continue to go, as you continue to do more and more, like you gotta be good with that. Like you gotta be totally fine with, hey, this is where we're at. This is the work that we're putting in. Here, you're getting the quality, you're getting the time, the efficiency on, hey, this isn't going to take us 6 weeks to do. I mean, that's one thing that we struggle with too. I mean, we have all kinds of customers that call in and they want state minimum coverage. Right? We don't do that. Yeah. We don't do, like, the value of having good insurance and having proper coverage is what we're in this business for, and making sure people are properly protected. So there's a lot of times where we'll tell people, look, if you really want state minimum coverage, like, we're not the agency for you. Most of the time when people, like, when you tell people, hey, if you need cheaper, right, you can go find it anywhere, right? But we're giving you quality, and we're going to be there to take care of you. And I know it's a completely different line of work, but in a sense, it's the same thing. Yeah. Right. And you pass up a job because they didn't want to pay the extra $2K. Yeah. Well, maybe that led to open the door for somebody that is going to, right? Yeah. You didn't spend all that time. So I totally understand that, because we were in the same boat of, hey, we need to get as many. When we first started, from scratch, like, we don't have anything on the books. We got to write everything, and so that was difficult to tell people, well, we're probably not the agency for you. But because we did that, now we have a really solid book of business. Yeah. Right? Our customers that we have, 95% of our customers are great customers, like, that we know are, properly protected. They're going to stick with us. They're not shopping us every 6 months, because of the quality and value that we provide. So in a sense, it's the same thing. So tell me, like, what is your favorite type of job to do? Like, is it just doing decks? Is it what's the favorite thing?
Yeah, I'd say decks, decks, pergolas, anything like that. I do like the hardscaping side of things, doing retaining walls and, patios and stuff like that. But the decks, I mean, because it's just a crazy, like, before and after, that's my thing. When you step back and look at it, like, when you do a ground up rebuild, it's like, man, this is crazy. Like, do it in 6-7 days, or whatever, and just like, man, we did that pretty quick or whatever. And I don't know, I like stepping back and seeing that. So
yeah, and anybody who, like, that's watching this, You need to check out the before and after of ours, because when Zach came out, we had bids. Oh, we weren't like in a really big rush. It honestly kind of happened quick. It wasn't like we were really like, hey, we need to do this. It was more so of our deck got to be so rotted that it was actually dangerous. We wouldn't even let the kids go out and play on it. And so when he came and looked at it, I didn't really know if we were going to pull the trigger or not, and I wanted to try to restore it. I didn't want a full-on rebuild. I was trying to save as much money as I could. And essentially, it basically ended up being a full rebuild. You kept like what, 8 of the...
Yeah, about 8 joists, yeah. That's about it.
And yeah, the pictures are the before and after. I feel like it's freaking awesome. I mean, it was bad, and then it looks like it's basically a brand new deck.
Yeah.
So, and you guys did ours in what? I mean, from start to finish, it took you maybe 2 weeks, 10 days?
Yeah, I think, 9 or 10 days, something like that, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, compared to everybody else that had been looking at it, I mean, we had a quote for some kind of material. I don't know, it was like $70,000.
Yeah, you guys are gonna do like the tile on the.
Yeah, and I got talked into that. Yeah. I got talked into that, and looking back on it, I'm so thankful that we waited, because I feel like we got a perfect situation. So, what do you feel like your goals are in the next like 6 months? Okay, so we're hitting quarter 3. All right, so we're hitting July. Quarter 3 into quarter 4, and then going into next year. Like, what do you want to get accomplished from now till the end of the year, and then what's next year look like for you?
So I mean, I guess like goals for the company would be to hit. I want to do 500 this year, which getting pretty close. I mean, it might be a little under, but
what do you mean by 500?
I want to do 500 in total sales, basically, for Longhorn, and I think we're pacing for that pretty good. So that'd be like the main thing, and then as far as like next year goes, I do want to get a couple of guys on, like full-time guys. Obviously, I'm still gonna use subs and stuff like that, but I want to get a couple full-time guys on that I trust and stuff like that, and that way if me and Tiffany want to go on a vacation or whatever, we can do that, and I can spend more time. And I think by next year there'll be some kids involved, so I want to be ready for that. But yeah, that's kind of the outlook now. Yeah, I think that's where I want to be. I mean, like I said before, if you're not focused on family, then everything else is kind of pointless. I mean, I've done that stuff. I mean, I still do sometimes where I'm working 7 days a week or whatever, but I mean, I did that when I was I'm still young, but when I was younger, working 7 days a week, 6-7 months out of the year, and it's like, I don't know, at some point you step back and look at it and you're like, dude, what am I doing? It's like, I mean, money can buy things, but it can't buy like happiness, So
sure.
It's like, yeah.
So, I mean, growth-wise, when you were talking about how your grandpa had run his company, did he have full-time people that were under that he?
He mostly did. He had a couple guys, but I'd say he had 2 really good guys over the 30-year period, which is crazy to say.
Two main guys that worked with him for 30 years.
Yeah. On and off, but I'd say that, and there were some other guys mixed in there that were, whatever. Weren't great employees or whatever, but and then yeah, he would, he'd do some sub work and stuff like that, but with guys, but yeah, mostly it was just him. And I mean, once we were old enough, it was, me and my brothers down there helping do stuff, but it was just him. He was into his 70s still, busting his butt.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, he's the hardest working dude I know for sure. And he definitely instilled that in me, So that's made me want to run circles around everyone I was working with. So, yeah.
So figuring out how to grow your company with good people is the main thing. Figuring out how to grow your company with good people, and I think for any business owner, I mean, we talk about scaling all the time,
mm-hmm.
right? Like everything is, okay, how do we scale this? How do we put people in position to be successful? And to where, because I mean, let's be honest, people that are going to stick with you and do a really good job, they want to be taken care of, right? Like, and it's a really fine balance, because what comes first? Like, do people have to earn it first? Do you start them out? Hey, look, here's how good of care we're gonna, like, here's what we're gonna do for you, and hopefully that they're motivated by that and they just do a good job. So I think that's really the biggest struggle for any business owner.
Yeah.
Is okay, because you gotta trust, right? You gotta trust that they're gonna do what you're asking. You gotta trust that, first off, that you as an owner have put the systems and processes into place to make them successful. And so I don't know, it's a really fine line, and there's a tough balance to it. But I mean, it sounds like you're thinking about all that, and it sounds like you're really evaluating that. So if you're doing if your goal is to do 500 this year and you're wanting to grow next year, I mean, what is it next year? 750?
I'm gonna be 750, or I mean, if it takes off and I do find a couple of good guys, I mean, I really think I could push it to 1, but I mean, that's kind of jumping the gun. But yeah, 750 is what's on the board at the moment.
Do you feel like when you're looking for people that you need to, are you looking at a certain target? Like,
I mean, I'd like to
age. Like, is it kids coming out of high school? Is it?
Yeah. See, that's where I'd like it to be. That's what, I'd like to get some like kids that are fresh out of high school that want to learn and stuff, and you teach them the right way, and that's all they know if you teach them that way. So, but at the same time, I think we're going through another deal where it's like, we had a peak in blue collar work like 5 years ago, where it was like, there was the college and the blue collar debate. It's like, go to college or
go to trade.
Do a trade. And I think right now we're having a fall off again, where it's like kids are like, oh, I'm either gonna go to college or I'm gonna do something else, and it's like blue collars look down on just a little bit again. It's like, which I mean, I never understood why. Like, when I was in high school, it was looked down on a little bit, and I'm like, dude, you can go make 70, 80 grand right out of high school, or you can go get into. I'm not saying it's wrong to go to college, but I'm just saying, like, I never understood the argument of like why the trades were looked down on, because it's like
because it's hard work.
Yeah, it is, but it's right. I mean, right away you're making money, and you're. And then at some point, it's not. I mean, you get into a foreman position or something like that. I mean, you're still doing work, but it's nothing crazy. So I never understood that argument, because I mean, the monetary opportunity right away is just crazy.
Well, I think that's a really good point, and I saw an interesting stat, and it kind of goes in line with the same thing. So 25% of 40-year-olds. Okay, so 25% of people who are 40 years old right now or older have never been married. Okay, compared to in like 1985 or 1990, I think it was only 6%. Okay,
Yeah.
But the population is actually going down, right? Like, people aren't getting married, having kids. Okay, now the reason I say that is because similarly, trade work is going down massively, right? The amount of people who are coming out of high school and wanting to go sit in an office or be in the AC work, they don't want to be a plumber, they don't want to be in construction, they don't want to be really doing anything we're talking about the heat, right? We're talking about the heat. It was 105 yesterday. You guys and your crew are out there working in that. It's kind of like a comfort thing, and so I don't know. I think it goes in line just with society and kind of how we're operating. Like, what do we do at some point? Like, you're not gonna have anybody to call to come fix your stuff.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff, man. Like, I don't know. So like, if I don't have somebody to call, if my toilet's not working, right, or my deck needs redone, like, I'm not gonna be able to get out there and do that stuff. So I don't know. It's interesting, because that stuff is so needed, and I think if I were you, like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, people that I would be looking for are people who want to run their own business someday.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, like, the people that we bring in here that we want to work with us, we want them to have aspirations to run the office.
Yeah.
Like where they essentially want to be the people that are in charge. Like, that's the attitude that we want. Like, I don't know, like, that to me is how you get people who are really, really highly motivated. So for you to say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to run your own business, I'm going to teach you how to do this in 3, 4, 5 years, and get that type of kid in there, and not be threatened or worried that they're going to leave you, but encouraging that. I think that's how you're going to get really, really good people.
Yeah,
really
and I've thought about that, and I think like I'm different too, because I'm like, I'm not in this to get like crazy rich or anything. Like, I'm in this to have freedom with when I do have kids and stuff like that with my family and all that stuff, and just so if someone does come along like that, I'm all for giving them a piece of the cake or whatever, as the saying goes. But and I don't have a problem with that. I'm just and I eventually my end goal is to build this up, and still have some part of it, but have someone full-time running it, and then I want to do a event space wedding venue type deal. So that's what I want to do in the next 5-10 years, something in there.
Okay.
That's been a dream since high school. So
is that something that you and Tiffany want to do together?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's kind of the end goal for sure. So I mean, when we were getting married, it was like we went and looked at 12 different places, and I'm just like, because I've thought about that since like high school, and like I had drawings and stuff all done, all that. But going there and looking at those places, and like I'm like, dude, I can do this. The more we're looking at them, like we can definitely do this. So I kind of had to talk her into being on board with it, but now she's like fully on board with it, and it's like that's the dream for sure.
Yeah, and those are the thing now, man.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Did you go look at Irontown when you were?
Yeah. And then we went and looked at one up in Smithville. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it had like one of my things I wanted to do is I wanted to have I wanted to put cabins on the property for the wedding party to stay. After the rehearsal, or if a little too much to drink or whatever, you can stay there. So I wanted to do that. And that one up in Smithville.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that one up in Smithville, they did the same thing. They had, I want to say they had like 10 cabins on the property. And it's a huge space. There's ponds and stuff up there. And, I mean, what they were charging for this thing was crazy. But no, I want to do that. And then like I got a bunch of other little things I want to do that I think would separate it from other places. Yeah, like there's never a places for the guys to get like ready, like an actual place. You're normally like getting ready in a bathroom or just like a in a room. There's not a designated area
for the guys.
Yeah, so I want to do like a loft, because it would be a barn type feel, but I want to do like a loft, like a locker room almost type feel. But yeah, I want to do that, and then do like for the bridesmaids and stuff, I want to do I want to put a little house out there and do like a salon. It's like mirrors everywhere, and salon chairs and all that. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things, but I could talk about that forever. But
don't give away all your ideas.
Yeah.
Dude, no, that's awesome. And and I don't know, like I think that's another good point, because I think the thing that has taught us so much in doing this with our business, right? With it's Amanda and I, and then it's Jake and Michaela, right? Where there's two couples that are both equal partners in business. And when we were starting this and talking about it, it happened really quick, right? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of an idea that we just one of us blurted it out, like, hey, like we should just do this. And then a couple weeks later, it's like, yeah, like, hey, we need to figure out how to get the wheels rolling on this thing. Mm-hmm. And there was once we pulled the trigger on it, once we said we're doing it, we just did it. And it was kind of like all caution to the wind. Mm-hmm. Like, we're throwing caution to the wind. Honestly, it was, if we were looking back now and we went back to 2 years ago, there's way more that we would have probably, like, it would have scared us. Knowing now, doing it. And my point in saying that is just jump in, dude. Like, if you've got ideas that you want to go for, they're just ideas, right? Yeah. Go make it happen.
Yeah.
And you're like, worst case scenario is you can go do something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I told myself going into this, was if this for some reason doesn't work out, I can always go get a job.
Yeah.
I can always go do what I was doing before. Like, I've lived the life of me and Amanda being both teachers.
Yeah.
Right. And we lived just fine on that income. Was it fun? No. But we were living, right? And we were still spending, we can survive. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess hearing you talk about all this stuff, it's really cool because there's just a lot that's like endless possibilities. Just pull the trigger on it, dude.
Yeah.
Just pull the trigger. And it's also really cool to do something with your spouse.
Yeah.
Most people don't get that opportunity, or they don't take advantage of the opportunity to do that. They don't think, oh, it'd be really cool to work with my wife every day.
Yeah.
I love it. I know Jake and Michaela love it. It has its challenges.
Yeah.
Right? But, dude, most people spend their 9 to 5 in different places.
Yeah.
And then they come home and they've got their family. They're trying to do that stuff. And then, how was your day? Well, if it was a crappy day, probably not a great time to talk, right?
Yeah.
Like, now looking back, I can't imagine it any other way.
Yeah, and it's cool too if you're both like passionate about something.
Exactly.
Which she's on board with that wedding venue like hardcore. So I'm like, this would be awesome. Like we're both like we can talk about that. Like obviously there's gonna be struggles in it, like there is with anything else. But I was like, this is awesome that we're, both passionate about one thing. I mean that's sweet.
And I honestly, like, we celebrated our 9-year wedding anniversary this week. And I don't know, like, the 2 years of being here together, it has made our marriage even, like, so much better.
Yeah.
Just because we're constantly, we're constantly with each other. And there's so many people that think, they'll say, I don't know how you guys work together every day. I could never work with my husband, or I could never work with my wife. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, maybe it is just a select few that can do it, but it's great. And the other thing that I would add to that too is, whether it's the wedding venue or it's another idea that maybe it's an idea she comes up with or a different idea that you have, like, dude, just go do it. That's my biggest advice. Just go do it. So what else, man? What else you got going? Like, do you have what's like the dead times, right? Like, is winter, because you came out, let's see, when did you bid ours? It was late winter, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was what, January, February, something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
So is the winter time whenever you're super slow?
I mean, you can still do it. I mean, if the weather permits, if it's snowing or there's snowing, I'm not gonna do anything. But yeah, I'd say the winter months it slows down a little bit. I do I'll go plow, every once in a while. Yeah. I mean, not huge accounts or anything, but something to stay busy. But yeah, that's normally the dead time. I mean, me and my wife will do like trips then and stuff like that. We're actually going on a kind of taking a delayed honeymoon. We're going to Cancun in August. So
where are you going? Where are you staying in Cancun?
It's what is it? San Lucas. It's
They're going to Cabo?
Yeah, it's what is it?
Or Cancun?
Dang, what is it? I guess it is Cabo. Yeah, it is Cabo. It's what is that one? The Rio something Rio. I don't know, but it's like an all-inclusive deal or whatever.
I think the Rio's nice. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Have you are you a big Co-Wetzel fan?
Yeah.
Have you heard Cabo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don't listen to that song, kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, it's been awesome having you on. I think one of the coolest parts about us is how everything kind of evolved too with, like, I want to help Zach out as much as I can with his business, okay? Because, like, I'm going to say this again, he did a phenomenal job. From, like I said earlier, the quality of our deck, the timeliness of it. There's a lot of people who say they're going to be somewhere and then they don't show up. Or, I had something come up, I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. And anytime there was even a situation like that, his communication was phenomenal. Okay, he was like, hey, can I get this done? I'm going to come back and do this tomorrow. And everything is exactly how he said it, okay? And in today's world, that's not what you get oftentimes, okay? So the customer service piece of it and the trust of knowing that somebody's doing the job that they say they're doing is huge. But then, obviously we're in insurance. And so, like I said earlier, the people that he was using to sub out, I mean, we insure all three of you. And then your brother, Jake, he's looking to get into being his own independent agency, and we're helping him out with that. And he's coming on board with CJ Insurance.
Yep.
And he's going through all that literally as we speak. And so the relationship has just been, it's really cool how it kind of all just took off. So, I don't know. I guess my point is, when you're running a business, knowing people and networking and doing a great job, and obviously we've got to do a great job for you on the insurance side of things.
Yeah.
It's just really cool what can happen there.
So for sure.
When you said that you do snow plowing, okay, I'm going back to the scaling piece of things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought of adding different branches to your company? Like Longhorn could do landscaping, and you've got a landscaping crew, or maybe they're mowing. Like that's something you can be kind of hands off with. Don't have to worry about them mowing your
yard,
right?
I mean, along those lines, when I first started my company, it was, we did all that. We did mowing and all that kind of stuff, and I just kind of want to stay out of that. But we're thinking about, like, I got a buddy who's up in Nebraska, and there's actually a separate like Longhorn branch up there. They're separate LLCs, all that stuff, but it's the same marketing, all that kind of stuff. But so we kind of work together, and he's thinking about basically jumping into that because it's kind of part time up there. It's kind of just something we were testing out or whatever.
We're at Nebraska.
Omaha.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's where all our connections are with CJ Insurance too.
Yeah.
So that could be something that we could.
But yeah, he's thinking about, we've done a couple bigger jobs up there and stuff like that. So he's thinking, and then I got a couple contacts up there, Husker Deck and Patio, which they do like high end decks. Like I'm talking, their honey hole is like 40 to 60, so they're doing like all composite, aluminum handrails. They'll do steel beams and stuff like that. They do crazy stuff. So, but they get a lot of jobs that, they don't necessarily want or whatever. So, we're trying to partner with them or whatever and try and get that off the ground. So that might be something next year too, that, that's a full-time deal up there. This is a full-time one. This is obviously this is down here, but maybe that one gets off the ground and, but definitely thought about, having like different branches and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just kind of a one day at a time deal right now, and, try and do the best you can every day and then see what happens.
For sure.
So,
well, I have no doubt that you're going to continue to grow, be successful, because at the end of the day, you do a great job. So keep trucking along, dude. Keep sticking with it, and it'll happen. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no, this was awesome.
We're going to wrap it up. This was episode 48 of Yellow Colored Glasses. And before we hop off, tell people where they can follow all your social stuff. So Longhorn Contracting.
Yeah. And then there's Facebook's going to be like the most active. I post a lot of stuff on there, and that's where you're gonna, you'll see Dustin's deck on there. You'll see all the decks you do. And then TikTok's another good one. That's just at Longhorn Contractors, and Facebook's just Longhorn Contractors. And then our website needs a little help. It's a little basic right now, but we're hoping to get that going here in the next couple months and get that more kind of in depth. I'm gonna do some like drone footage of jobs and stuff like that and get it on there and all that. So that's coming. But yeah, I'd say Facebook and TikTok, and then obviously you can email us. It's Zach at longhorncontractorskc.com. And then you obviously my cell. You can always call me. I don't know if I can.
No, you can. Yeah, we'll put whenever we post it too. We'll put all your info in the link.
Okay, that's fine then. So, but yeah, that's kind of the best way to get a hold of us. But
yeah, I mean, if you want to put your cell phone out there to the world, man, you can absolutely do that. That's
I figured. I was like, I kind of caught myself. So I was like,
you can do that. Whatever. That's up to you. That's up to you.
Yeah.
We might prank dial you.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, hey, everybody, thank you for watching. Thanks again for the reviews, and definitely check out Longhorn Contracting. Guys, I can't say it enough. They did a phenomenal job, and Zach, everything that he says he's going to do, they definitely do it. So check them out if you're interested in any of that stuff as far as decks, patios, your landscaping, hardscaping, all that stuff. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.